All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast weekly real estate tip, where every single week I come to you sharing the different knowledge, strategies, tactics, and skills that I have personally learned on my 20-year-long real estate journey that have allowed me to become one of the top realtors and team leaders on the planet, selling over 7,000 homes, as well as coaching and consulting over 5,000 agents, team leaders, and broker owners. That way you have the knowledge, the skills, the strategies to go out there and ensure that you are hitting your real estate goals and crushing it inside your real estate business. Okay, so today I'm here to talk to you about the 5 foundational items that you must have inside your real estate business, that you must have dialed in inside your real estate business to succeed at the highest level. Now, these things have always been extremely important. At least through my 20-year journey, I have not witnessed or seen a time where these things were not extremely, extremely important. And when I bring on a new agent or bring on a new coaching client, doesn't matter what level that they're at, these are the first things that we focus on to make sure that they have dialed in right away. Because I know, just like if you're building a house, man, you can go out there and build a house on a very weak foundation, build it on sand, that thing is going to collapse. We need that strong foundation. Now, these have always been essential, but right now I would argue that they are more essential than maybe they possibly been in the past. And why do I say that? Well, right now we've got the changing economy and changing market. And the reason why I'm saying this is, look, when everything is good, when the real estate market's exploding, the economy's exploding, we can get away with not operating by the fundamentals, with not operating by the foundations. But when things become more challenging, the fundamentals, those foundations become that much more important. So you've got changing economy, changing real estate market. Now you might be like, oh, Josh, my market hasn't changed yet. Look, it's going to, and it will, the probability of it changing and starting to transition out of a seller's market into a neutral market, into a buyer's market, over the next 12 to 24 months is very, very high. On top of that, we got all this NAR DOJ stuff going on that you guys all have awareness of, or hopefully you have awareness of this at this point. You're spending that time to go out there and get prepared for these things. Look, these things going on. I mean, if we just look at, there's going to be a lot of additional changes after August 17th, after this rollout. I mean, the DOJ's got their active investigation open. There's a lot of things, if you're paying attention to that at a high level, there's a lot of things going on there. So this is kind of like version 1 of these changes, taking place. But even if we look at the NAR changes that are taking place August 17th, it's going to create a lot more work for all of us. There's just things in there that are going to create a lot of unnecessary, unneeded. Now that's just, my opinion on this. So you can take that with a grain of salt, but either way, it's going to create a lot more work for all of us. Then from there, on top of this, we got all this tech and AI and the exponential growth of these things, so with these few different things going on right now, that's why I say that this is probably more important than it has been in the past, even though they were essential, absolutely, and non-negotiable in the past. Okay, so let's jump into these 5 foundational items. I'm going to break them down one by one and make sure to explain each one and why they're essential for you. Now, just a warning here. These 5 things are not the sexy things that we love to talk about in this industry. One of my frustrations as a podcaster, if you will, or whatever you want to call me, I don't know, content creator, podcaster, coach, also I'm a practitioner, realtor, just like you guys in the trenches each and every single day, but when it comes to creating the content, when it comes to coaching, the things that are the most important, that will make the biggest impact on your business, the vast majority of our industry gives the least shit about. Right? Like they'll get the lowest amount of views, the lowest amount of engagement, the lowest amount of, so I want to give that forewarning of these things may not be the sexy thing that gets you that dopamine hit, that excites you, that, but at some point you got to put down the easy reads and you got to go into the hard reads. You got to, it's the unsexy things that lead us to success. So even though these might not be the most sexy things, these are the most important things to lay again that strong foundation so you can continue to grow and scale, increase your capacity, and just crush it inside your real estate business. Okay, foundational item number 1 is your tracking system. This is where I was, again, if I'm bringing on a new agent inside my real estate company here in Phoenix, Arizona, doesn't matter if they've been in the business a month or 0 days or 35 years, I'm going to get these things dialed in for them. And why would you focus on these foundations with an agent that's been in the business 3 decades? because 99% of them still, they've been surviving in the business for 3 decades, not thriving, but surviving. They're missing these foundational items. I mean, I don't know anybody thriving. I don't know anybody doing 100 million, 200 million plus on an annual gross sales volume in agent or team, that doesn't have these 5 things dialed in. Okay, so when it comes to your tracking system, there's 2 important, essential things that we gotta have our tracking systems built up around. So we look at this, we got the back end and then we got the front end. So let's start with the back end. So the back end is going to be, and I'm sure that you have awareness of this or you've heard of this term, is your profit and loss statements, right? So the back end is going to be like the shit that we're, the accounting, the back end that we're, giving to our CPAs or bookkeepers, and whatnot here. This is tracking your revenue and your expenses. So essential, extremely important. My recommendation is that you spend time every single month at the beginning of the new month. Okay, you spend, 2 hours, 3 hours going through everything from the previous month, get these into your tracking system. So then this way, it's always up to date. You always know exactly where your business is at. And what are the things that we're tracking? Okay, every single dollar that comes in as an element of revenue into your real estate business. Not only do you want to track that, how much money am I making? Obviously, that's really important. But then from there, where exactly is that revenue coming in? Let's just say, as an example, you're doing Google pay-per-click leads, you're doing Facebook leads, you're doing open houses, and maybe you're doing, Realtor.com. Well, I need to know exactly how much revenue is coming in from each of those. Now, personally, I break it down a layer further. How much is coming in from my listing side of the business? How much is coming in from the buyer side of the business? How much is coming in from, let's just say, the rental side of the business, if you're doing, rentals, out there. And then if you're a team or a brokerage and you have ancillaries, okay, we need to know, and if these are all funneling into the same account, as an example, or if they're separate businesses, separate accounts, hopefully you have them set with separate accounts, but you're doing the same thing inside those businesses as well. So you know what all your revenue's coming in, what mediums it's coming in from, and exactly what lead sources that revenue is coming in from. That's a lot of essential data that I need and want to know. Then from there, okay, I'm going to track every single dollar going out. So every expense I have going out, I am tracking that. So I know how much is going to auto, how much is going to maybe computers or equipment, how much is going into, systems, staff, office rents, all of that. So that's all the back end stuff. Then from there on front end stuff. So front end is going to be the amount of energy and effort it takes for you to go out there and produce that revenue. So if we break this down, and my recommendation is to do this per lead source inside your business. So, okay, well, how many, first of all, how many leads am I generating? So I'm going to be tracking that per lead source. Now, if you're investing in marketing, we also need to track, what that revenue is. So what your average cost per lead is. So then that way you can calculate what your cost per acquisition is. If you don't know what cost per acquisition is, that means how much money are you spending to go out there and acquire a customer. Now, a lot of people that aren't marketing, they're like, well, that's not important to me because I'm not spending money. Okay, well, it's either money or time that you're spending. And that's the difference between marketing and prospecting inside this business. You either invest in money or you're investing time, but you've probably heard the sayings out there that time is money, so you want to track how much energy and effort. So we got physical time, which is energy and effort. We also have money, which is just energy as well. And then there's effort that you have to go to make that money, so it's all just energy and effort. So we're tracking how much energy and effort to procure a deal. So then that way I can know that. Like with my open house example, I know exactly how many open houses I do based on the average lead count to equate to X amount of closing. So if I want to close 50 transactions, let's just say through open house over the next 12 months, I know exactly how many open houses I need to be doing weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually to hit my target based on my numbers. So then from there, okay, number of leads. Then we're looking at, again, overall energy, overall effort. So then number of dials, number of reach outs, number of conversations. Now you can track other things, but these are the main things that I recommend that you track at a minimum. So number of reach outs. So for me in my business, that's going to be dials because I know that appointments get set on the phone. So number of reach outs, number of conversations, number of appointments set, number of appointment conductions, number of clients, number of closings. This then gives me an overall picture, allows me to know what my overall conversion rates are. But then in addition to that, not only does it allow me to know what's working, what's not working, and allow me to create, again, that predictability so we're not having those roller coaster ups and downs inside of our business. This also allows me to see bottlenecks, areas of improvement, areas that maybe you suck. If you want to get better, really boils down to skill set acquisition. What are the skills that you are acquiring? What areas of your business are you working on self-development? My guess is if you're not tracking your numbers, you have no idea what area you need to actually work on inside your business. So let's just say, okay, your appointment set to conduction ratio is 50%, which is industry average. That should be 75% or greater. Well, I know there's only 4 things, and only 4 things that you got to do that are very quick, very easy to get that number up. And that number can make the difference of, 5, sometimes 6 figures on an annual basis inside your real estate business by just getting that one area of your business up. So foundational item number 1 is getting your tracking system in place. So when I bring in an agent in place now, when an agent comes to work for me or my coaching clients, I've already the trackers already built out, developed. So I just feed them to them, give them to them, formulas already built out. So they just got to spend the 30 seconds a day inputting in their numbers. If you don't have a tracking system built out, get one right away. You don't need to go buy an expensive system. Free is always my favorite price. So I personally use Google Drive. You can go create a free Gmail. You probably already have one. Inside your free Gmail, there's an area called Google Drive. You can go in there and create Google trackers inside there, which is essentially Excel sheets. Oh, well, Josh, I don't know how to use Excel sheets. Quit with the excuses. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I used to do those too, right? So this is just me, calling my own self out. I used to use that same excuse as well. But then one day I was like, okay, I can no longer use this excuse. If I'm committed to my business, I'll track my data. It's like number 1 layer of I know somebody's committed to their business or not if they're tracking, that thing inside their business. Because what's tracked is measured. What's measured, what we focus on gets improved. So if you want to improve your business, you're going to track your numbers because otherwise it really is an impossibility to go out there and truly improve your business at a very high level and at least have consistent productivity over time. So then from there, okay, I went out there and just watched some freaking YouTube videos and whatever and spent a few hours on a Sunday figuring out how to build the formulas, how to build this stuff out. It's fucking easy, right? So we have the tools, so get rid of these excuses of I don't know how to do this. Start asking yourself, okay, what do I need to do to make this happen regardless, right? Okay, foundational item number 2 is your CRM. So your tracking system is the most important system inside your business when it comes to making smart, intelligent decisions inside your business at a high level. So what to scale up, what to scale down, what to improve, areas to improve, creating that predictability, things to cut out, all of that. Now, our CRM, our most important systems that we're supposed to be executing or living in on a daily basis inside of our business. So if you look at this, we're in the human resource, human connection business. You and I do not actually real estate isn't the product that we're actually selling, right? Now, I know that might sound weird. Well, Josh, no, I'm a realtor, man. I sell real estate. Well, I get what you're saying and I get that mentality, but here's where I'm going with this. People are already sold on the fact that they want to buy and sell real estate. Right. So, and they can go out there and get somebody else to help them with this, right. Whatever. There's an abundance of realtors out there, but they're already sold on the fact that they want to buy or sell real estate. It's the American dream. They're already sold on that fact, right? So what you are truly selling is articulating that you are the best guide to get them from their current living situation, the living situation that they want to get to, right? So in order to do that, we've got to have more relationships with more possible clients out there that are looking to buy and sell real estate. So our CRM system is our system of where we manage these different relationships. Now, I'm going to be creating a podcast here very, very soon on do you actually need a physical CRM system inside your business? Because that was a question I had on my YouTube account the other day. Because I'm always saying that, look, if you don't have a CRM, you are not going to succeed inside this business. But does that mean you need an official CRM system? No. But if you have a CRM system, you're going to be able to operate a hell of a lot more effectively, a hell of a lot more efficiently. You are choosing to go out there and create a hell of a lot more work on yourself if you don't have an actual CRM system in place. Like I'm talking about like a Perfect Storm or, a Boomtown or a Commissions Inc. or a Lofty or KB, you get what I'm saying there. But if we look at this, CRM just stands for Customer Relationship Management System. So does it got to be a separate platform that you go out there and pay for? No, not necessarily. I mean, it can be done in notebooks. It can be done in Excel spreadsheets. You just need to have a system as to where you apply it to. So I'll give a kind of a stupid example here. Okay, I grill a lot, right? So, my health and fitness is my 2 obsessions in this life, man, is real estate business, and then health and fitness. So so I meal prep, I don't eat out, I prep all my meals, all of this stuff. So I grill a lot. So my grilling system, because one day I left that grill on for like 3 days, totally forgot about it, and it wasn't a good situation, right? So anyway, though, okay, now I created a system to ensure I never forget to shut the grill off. So I have an outdoor kitchen, outdoor grill set up in my backyard. So I open the door, at the bottom of the grill where I turn on the gas to fire up the burners. So I open that door, right? Once the grill's preheated, that's where I keep all the scrapers and all of that. So I scrape off the grill, but I keep that door open until I'm completely done cooking. Because when you're done cooking, right? Well, at least my process for cooking is I pull the chicken off or the steak off, then I put it on high, let all that stuff burn off, so then I can go scrape the grill and keep my grill super clean. So my system now is I keep that right door of that thing open until all that part of that process is done, and then the grill's shut off. Then once the grill shut off, I shut that door. So I know through that system that door is open. So it's not like a physical piece of software that I'm buying to go out there and manage that, right? I've created a system for myself. But regardless, and you've heard the saying, fortune is in the fall, when you're managing these leads, clients, past clients, sphere of influence, and so forth, we have to have a system in place to manage those relationships, manage those customers. So you'll be a hell of a lot more efficient if you go get an actual CRM that's its purpose to go out there and do this. But no, if you want to go out there and operate off Excel spreadsheets, notebooks, your cell phone, you have a different system. It's just going to be a hell of a lot more inefficient. You're gonna create a lot more work for yourself and have a very difficult time scaling. After that fact. But number two, you got to get your CRM system, your CRM contact relationship management system dialed in place. Okay, number three is making sure that you have a world-class buyer consultation dialed in and listing presentation dialed in inside your business. Now, when I say dialed in, I'm not just saying, oh man, I got these pretty brochures and pretty presentations that I can, created in Canva. Nobody gives two shits about how pretty your presentation is. That is your wrong focus. Doesn't need to be pretty, right? When I say dialed in, if we look at, okay, what does a great presentation do? A great presentation informs and educates, articulates your value, handles and overcomes any objections that come up, aka concerns, leads seamlessly into the close. Look, you don't even need a physical presentation, right? Because the presentation itself, like, okay, if I'm going to go speak on stage, do I need to have a slideshow that's going up on the clicker on the big screen? Or can I just go up there and speak on stage and ad lib it? Which one's going to be a more powerful presentation? They both can be extremely powerful. It just depends on that speaker style and whatever. Like, you don't have to have, I can go into a listing presentation right now with zero materials, outside of maybe of the CMA and discuss comps with them, but I don't need to have a physical presentation to go out there and still convert at, 90+% on these presentations, because I've got it dialed in. I know the overall process. I know the frameworks. I've practiced it. I've rehearsed it. So when I'm talking about dialed in, you need to have it in place. It needs to do those four things, those four frameworks that I talked about: inform and educate, articulate your value, handle any objections, aka concerns, lead seamlessly into the close. I don't care what the presentation style is that you do to get those four things done. That is just what a world-class great presentation is going to have involved in it. But then from there, you need to rehearse it. You need to practice it. When I have an agent come join my organization, I highly encourage them to spend 1,000 days, within the first year, get 1,000 reps in. So it's like, okay, I can rip through a buyer presentation role play in 20 minutes. I can rip through a listing presentation role play in 20 minutes. Now, that actual listing presentation, actual buyer presentation might take a full hour when it's, in actual, when we're actually doing it. But I'm just saying to go through to rehearse it, because there's things that are going to take place that you can't emulate in a role play. But then from there, okay, so then I can get 3 reps in every single day on both of those, spending 2 hours, a day. And then by the end of that year, I've got 1,000 reps in each of those. This is how within your first year, you can develop a skill set and go kick the shit out of somebody that's been in this business for 30 years because they've got more reps in than they have. I was on stage one time and I heard this, a guy is kind of known as a legend in our real estate, industry, at least in my market. And this was very early on in my career. But he got up on stage and he said something that just really, I disagreed with. He got up there and he said, okay, it takes going on 100 listing appointments to become a good listing agent. And I sat there, I'm like, well, is that really the smartest way to do this? Is that really the most effective and efficient way to do this? What if I take my time to go out there and identify a world-class listing presentation, world-class listing buyer presentation, and then I practice those 1,000 times, then maybe I don't need to go on 100. Maybe I only need to go on 6. I don't want to roll the dice without potentially losing, 100 listing presentations where maybe I gained 50 of those and I lost the other 50 clients. That's a lot of freaking money, so there's ways to fast forward this. I get what he was saying. He's a good personal friend of mine. Look, if you're doing it the hard way, where you're getting your practice in, that would just be no different than, if I'm, I don't know, playing soccer. And I'm just trying to increase my skill set by just playing in the games, but I choose to skip practice. Like when we all get with sports, and sports are a good analogy to utilize for business. Like we'd like that'd be dumb as shit. Like, why would you go out there and do that and expect to improve on that? That is what 99.9% of our industry does. I'm telling you right now, like if you take this serious, if you commit to practice, 2 or 3 hours a day, now go work your ass off. Go work your, 8, 10-hour days. Well, Josh, I work my 8 or 10 hours and I don't have the time left. Yes, you do. Right? You might have to cut out TV for a little bit of time. Just got to decide what's most important. You sit in your ass in front of fucking Netflix watching some dumb shit that's never going to improve your life just so you can, escape reality and like that stuff's not necessary. I'm not saying that you can't reintroduce that stuff into your life if you really love it. Like, dude, I love watching movies. Whatever, but there's a period of time in my life where, okay, that stuff had to take a back burner so I could go out there and allocate the time to focus on the skill sets that I needed to acquire to become world-class, to become top of the top in our industry. So we've got to dial this stuff in. Okay. Foundational item number 4 is making sure that you got your sphere of influence, past client strategy dialed in and in place. It's not enough to just go out there and deliver great service to your clients. You got to make sure that keeping that relationship alive long-term, right? So every great operator out there in any industry knows and understands it's all about increasing lifetime value of a customer. That lifetime value of a customer. So thinking about this, okay, you got a buyer client, you got a listing client, you go out there, sell them a property. Let's just say it's a buyer client for this example. You go out there, maybe your commission checks, I don't know, 10 grand or whatever it is that you get paid on that deal. That customer is not worth 10 grand to your business. If you do this right, if you have the right things dialed in, that customer should be worth 70 grand or maybe even 100 grand to your business through all the repeat referral business that they do through you, through the longevity of this business. So then from there, okay, what is your strategy? So an example, past clients. It's like, okay, as soon as they become a client, okay, we have part of my internal process inside my real estate team is we frame request them on Facebook, frame request them on Instagram. Now that's part of our listing, our buyer consultation. Before they leave, we actually pull out our phones, connect with them on there. And then we have a 4-to-1 posting strategy that we do. So they're seeing our consistent content on there. And then we have a process to make sure that we're engaging with their content on there. Then from there, okay, then we're going to celebrate that. We're going to then deliver a world-class, great, amazing experience. Then from there, we're going to celebrate the close. Well, then from there, in addition to the 5.5 monthly broadcast emails that they get from us, in addition to all the social media stuff, okay, now we do our calls. So I just task it out. And this is why CRM item number 2 is important. I just click a button, reminds me to call them 7 days post-close, 30 days post-close, every 9 days for the next 20 years. So I never forget. So now I'm doing my check-in calls, when it comes to our past clients. And then you're also sphere of influence. I get so many people that jump into this industry that are new. They're like, oh, well, I'm new. I don't have a sphere of influence. They're thinking that their sphere of influence is past clients. That's just one silo to your sphere of influence. Your sphere of influence is just really any warm relationships, right? So, this is, okay, people that you went to school with, people that you grew up with, people that you worked with, whether it be peers, other employees, or even customers and clients and previous, jobs that you had. This is just anybody, that people you go to church with, people that you know from your kids' school, whatever. Like this is all part of your sphere of influence. Okay, foundational item number 5 is your client acquisition strategy. This is extremely important. All of these are extremely important. But the reason why I have this one as number 5 is that, look, if you don't have the first 4 items dialed in, you're just going to suck at number 5. Now, you might be okay at number 5. But what I'm saying is, because I see it all the time, where I'll meet a real estate agent that's closing 2 deals a month and they're working 60 hours a week and they're complaining to me that they don't have time. I'm like, how can you not have time? Like closing 2 deals a month should be part-time work, right? But because they don't have these foundational items in, I'm not saying that they're lying. And I'm not saying that they're not really going out there and grinding and working their ass off. So I'm not saying this is like, to poke fun at them, but I'm saying this, if you have the right processes, systems, skill sets, and strategies dialed in, This shit will take you a lot less energy, effort, and work to go out there and close. That's why these are so important, because it increases your capacity. But then once you get to your own personal capacity, once you got to start plugging in people, now you have the foundational items to plug them into so you can go out there and scale. This is also why so many teams and brokerages fail, because they still don't have these things dialed in and dialed in for their agents to go out there and continue to go out there and scale. So now when it comes to your client acquisition strategy, this is where you got to break down and know, okay, where are you currently at? What are your goals? What are your immediate goals? So it's common that I get a coaching, well, Josh, most important thing to me in the future is a team. I love working. I'm all about working hard, but I want to be able to travel, and not like I'll work while I'm, traveling, but I want to be able to travel more and just not be so tied to this physical location. Okay, well then from there, would it make sense then for them to go out there and start building their business off a door knocking 100 doors every single day, which is going to handcuff them to that location? No, let's come up not just with a strategy and mediums that allow you to hit your immediate goal, but then also allow you to scale to your long-term goal. So we got to look at, okay, what are your immediate goals, meaning your 12-month goals? What are your long-term goals, visions? So that means, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. What's the long-term? You can what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what's going on with your current market, what's going on with the current economy, what your schedule is, any constraints that you might have inside your business, other commitments that you might have inside your business or life. We all different. Okay, like if I've got, a mom that is in real estate and wants to build up this real estate career, but then she has limited schedule, maybe, she's like, hey man, I got 9 a.m. to like 3 p.m. every single day. Not to mean I can't work but a little bit before, after, but I've got my kids with me. Maybe it's a single mom, in that situation. Okay, well, that's going to be, we've got to we got to put the pieces together in a much more strategic, component versus a dude like me that when I jumped in the business, wasn't married, didn't have kids, could work 80 hours a week. I didn't have any time constraints per se in my business. So this is where it gets confusing, because we jump on these podcasts like this, or, there's always a podcast out there in our industry, and you got all these people saying, oh, this is the best. This is the best. Well, maybe it's the best for them based on their situation, their scenario. Is it the best for you? Another thing that we got to pay attention to is your timeline. How quickly do you need to start making money? One of the reasons why I see so many agents that are struggling, that get themselves into huge trouble, isn't that they're not busting their ass and doing work, but they're busting ass and doing work on things that are maybe longer term strategies where they're not going to start seeing fruits of that labor. Like, dude, if you came to me and were like, hey man, I need money, I need to turn around my situation, I need to start making money, like physical checks in my bank account within 4 months, no later than that. Otherwise, man, I might have to quit this industry. I'm going to be in some big trouble. Okay, well, I'm not going to have you focusing on building a YouTube channel. I'm not going to have you focusing on social media organic stuff immediately out of the gate. It's going to be more prospecting based things. There's things that lead to quick money. There's things that lead to kind of medium range. And then there's the long-term stuff. All of these things, are essential to take into consideration when we're coming up with our client acquisition strategy, because it's going to be unique to each of us individually. It's going to be very nuanced, but you got to make sure that you hone in and dial in your client acquisition strategy all the way down to, exactly what you must do daily, weekly, monthly, and annually to go out there and ensure that your goals are reality. You do not have a client acquisition strategy, meaning how do I get new customers in place to, exactly, okay, here's what I'm doing. Here's how much of it I have to do. Here's how much I have to generate. Here's how many dials, reach outs, conversations, that I must do to equate to X amount of clients. So then that way I can go out there and close X amount of deals, right? And it's very easy in this industry to go out there and do that. I know it might sound confused. Like, well, Josh, I've never done this. I don't know how to do this. Look, I'm telling you right now, it's so damn easy. And if you're stuck on this and you don't know how to come up with a client acquisition strategy, I highly encourage you to book. Look, I'll get you dialed in. You can book a 100% free Zoom coaching call with me personally. I will get you dialed in on this. We'll go through all those things that I just talked about, going through your situation, what your goals are, all those things that I just talked about. And I will map out what my recommended strategy is for you based on your strengths, based on your situation, all those things that we talked about. And not just, okay, here's how much of it to do. Here's what to focus on. Here's how much of it to do, but give you an idea of what you need to do. And when I say give you an idea, it does differentiate based on skill set. and how well we can follow the process. So this is where tracking becomes imperative. Not everybody that follows the same goes at it. Like, okay, if we're all going after expires, we might all have different different conversion rates based on skill set, process, different things, with that. But we'll remove those blinders. So you're like a horse, or not, we're going to put the blinders on. So you're like a horse with the blinders on, where you know exactly what you need to do. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to be it'll be as precise as you can possibly get it. Now, if you are tracking your numbers when you jump on this coaching call and we can go through your numbers together, then that precision exponentially grows. But if you're not tracking your numbers, which I know most of you aren't, and you jump on this coaching call, okay, we can get it pretty damn precise. So that way, every single day, every single week, every single month, what you must do to make your goals a reality. So again, if you don't know what exactly you must be doing with your client acquisition strategy to get from where you're at to where you want to go, I invite you to book this 100% free. We'll spend an hour together on a Zoom coaching call, me and you. It's going to be with me and you personally, breaking all of this stuff down. So if you want to schedule this, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Now, if you schedule that, you're going to land on, after you schedule it, you're going to land on a quick, confirmation page, whatever you call it. It's got a quick video. Please watch that entire video. It's a quick video, but I'm going to walk you through things to make sure that you're prepped for that call with things that I need to make sure that I'm able to support you at the highest level during this free coaching call. So if you want to take advantage of that, again, GSD mode or www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Don't forget the www. Otherwise it takes you to the dead page. Also, to make it super easy on you, there'll be a link, top link below. Whoever you're watching or listening to this is on there. Okay, so just to quickly recap these 5 foundational items that you must have dialed in, and just make this list and then start chipping away at each one, separately, whatever. You don't need to, worry about, I got to implement all 5 at the same time. No, just start on 1, get 1 done, get 2 done, then get 3 done. Right? So, okay, your tracking system. Number 2 is your CRM system. Number 3 is dialing in and having your world-class and buyer consultation in place. Number 4 is your sphere of influence past client strategy. Number 5 is your client acquisition strategy. All right, guys, I hope that this has been beneficial. I hope this has been helpful. Keep crushing, keep kicking ass, and I will see you next time. Peace.